Hello and welcome to Four Burners. My name is Josh Earl and join me this week, very special guest, first time on the podcast.
Very.
Can you please, he is writer, director, podcaster, comedian, business owner, whatever you want to call him. Here it is. It's Kyran Whitley, everyone. Yay.
Hey.
Hey, mate.
Kyran Nicholson these days, actually, Josh.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's all right. Don't you dad name me.
I'm very sorry about that.
No, don't be sorry
at
at
the
all.
wedding.
You were, yes,
Yeah.
exactly. But I didn't change it on that day. I changed it later, so it's fair enough.
Was that a thing? Did you really want to change it? As in like, this is going to be great. We're going to be united?
Yeah, it was, yes, that was it. It was kind of like, it felt, what's the word, subversive to be so traditional.
Yep.
In a queer relationship, because it's not really the done thing anymore, changing your name.
No, my wife changed her name
yeah.
because she always had issues with her surname. I won't say it, but yeah, she got teased a lot as a kid for her surname. So she was like,
Tits McGee or something.
That's it. That's
Yeah.
exactly who I married. I just typed it into Google, it came up, and I want to meet her.
Yeah. No, so it was partly that. Maybe we'll get into it in the family section of this show.
Yeah, great. So how I normally start the podcast is saying how we first met. And I was going back, I don't know where we first met. It would have been through comedy. It would have been through...
It would definitely be through comedy.
Yeah, it would have been through just being around.
When I was on Triple J, I used to get comedians on all the time. No?
I was never on. I was a Triple R boy.
Oh, you're at Triple R, of course. We were mortal enemies.
When I got the breakfast show on Triple R, O'Kine sent me a message going, "Are we now enemies?" I'm like, I don't think we are. I don't think there's much of a
I don't think audiences are aware of the existence of the other.
Yeah.
No, I have absolutely no idea. Might have been at a gig, I imagine, standing at the back of a gig or something like that.
Do you know where I think it might have been? I think it might have been the Shelf. I think it might have been Justin Hamilton, Adam Richard doing the Shelf, and I think you would have got up there and done some comedy there.
I did.
I would have met you then.
Yep, I did.
So there we go.
There we go.
All right. So this is interesting because I've had your husband on the show.
Is most people at a gig when you ask that question? If for comedians?
Well, no. A lot of times it's them coming on my podcast, as in like the old podcast. I would get them on, and there would be some people who I'd never met, but they'd been on the podcast like 3 or 4 times because of Zoom.
Yep.
And then when you finally meet them, it's such a weird little thing. I always get people like Michael Hing's partner. He's like, "Oh, you're shorter than I thought you were on Zoom." I'm like, "Yep, that's old 6 foot face, 5'7" body. That's me." Yeah. No, so I've had Reese on the show, and I don't know.
What do they say about me?
Well, they said very nice things.
Great.
But at the end of the show, when they had to turn off burners, I'm sorry, they only left career on.
Luckily, I'm intrinsically involved in that as well.
Yeah,
so.
Well, that's what they were saying as well. So how this works is we go through your burners. You decide where we want to start. So it's family, friends, health, and career.
Well, we're already talking about family, so why don't we start there?
All right. Who would you say is in your family?
That's not a good start, is it? I don't really have. I have. I've got my mum is in Perth, and my brother and his kids are in Margaret River.
Yeah.
My dad's in Margaret River, and I have a large extended family. My nickname was Shorty growing up because I was the shortest of all the cousins, and there's like hundreds of us. And I was the youngest. So I have like a large sort of extended family, but none of them are in Melbourne.
Yeah.
Or Sydney, which is where I lived for a decade before this. So it's been a very long time since I've seen them outside a wedding or a funeral.
Yeah. I was thinking that today as well with my youngest brother. I left home when I was 17. He was 14.
Same, yeah.
And so it was that thing of like, he grew up so much when I was away. And then I'm at uni, he's at uni, we don't really see each other.
Yep.
Until we kind of were in our mid to late 20s.
Yep. I think my brother and I are now getting close.
Yeah.
In our late 30s.
Yeah.
Because, I went to, he went to the other school, was 4 years apart. So when he went into year 8, whatever, I'm in year 4, I get to year 8 and it's turned into a middle school. So I'm not even in the same school. He goes into year 11. I went to a different school in year 9. He's in year 12. I came back in year 12. He's moved to university. Like, it was exactly like the last time we were sort of in the same car going to school, I was in year 4.
Yeah.
Like, so we sort of didn't really even grow up in each other's. And I was like this 4 years younger than him as well, which is just enough of an age difference.
Yeah. It's a big age difference where it's not like you can hang out really.
No,
but
exactly.
It's also, it's not like you look up to them like, oh, that's another parent figure in my life.
No. And like, he's listening to Nirvana and I'm like loving Celine Dion that mum's playing and Mix 94.5.
Excellent.
You know, making dances and doing stuff like that. My brother's like playing drums. Like, who is this fucking little annoyance? So I've never really felt that. I mean, I'm very, very close with my mum. And so I think I've got mum. My brother we're definitely getting much closer in the last few years, and Reese.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my little family. Like, if I think of who I'm calling in my family, I guess, like if in an emergency or not even just for anything, it's one of those 3 people.
Yeah. So mum lives in Perth, dad's in Margaret River. Were they together when you were growing up?
For a bit.
Yep.
For a bit. They dad he well, put it this way, he came back on the same day. So we all got told that he was heading off, and then on the drive to Perth, changed his mind. Turn around, come back. I think it was the same day. I don't know. That's how I remember it anyway as a kid when I was 12. So like there was this like break in family at that age too, you know, like, and so it wasn't a place, family wasn't a place that I sort of found a lot of, I don't know, support, reprieve. It was like there was a weirdness. It's like, this isn't right anymore.
Yeah.
Like from 12, it was like something's off now.
Yeah.
And like when I said I went to a school in year 9, like I went to a boarding school somewhere else, I found myself online and was like, I want to go to this school.
Oh, wow. Yep.
And I don't think at the time I was like actively thinking I need to get away from this. But surely somewhere in a child who's putting their hand up in year 8, year 7 saying, I want to go to a completely different state for a year.
So where was it?
It was in the mountains in Victoria.
Oh, okay.
It's a school called it's a campus called Timbertop, which is like a year-long camp essentially. And you I don't know, you go hiking on weekends and you do community service and you
And had you known anyone had gone there?
No, a teacher at my school in Perth. That's how I found out about it. He was going there to teach, and I just like looked into it and decided it was something I wanted to do. And then when I was at camp, actually in year 8 in Perth, said to a mate of mine, Mark Dodd, at my school in Perth, oh, next year I'm actually going to a school that's going to be like this, but like for a whole year. And he was like, Timbertop? I was like, yeah. He's like, me too.
Oh, wow.
And so one of my closest friends today was like,
oh, that's great.
Just out of nowhere, he went there as well. But yeah, so it was like this completely random thing. Looking back, have no idea why I wanted to go.
Yep.
Parents have no idea what, I've asked them later, like, why did you let me?
Yeah.
as well. So yeah, family's not really been, and then Reese and I have decided not to have kids. So, the closest thing I think that I could find to having a family was I'll change my name.
Yep.
I'll change my name. We can both be Nicholsons. And that's like, our little family.
Because you've been married now for 2 years.
Yep.
Yeah. But you
feels longer.
How long were you together before that?
It's 14 years now.
14 years. So that's a long time to be together.
Yeah.
But being married for 2 years, have you found any difference now that you're married?
Did you feel this? I felt that there's just a settled. There's something about standing up in front of all your friends and family, and declaring that you will be coming to dinner parties together from now on.
Yeah,
even if it's just that.
I think it's also a nice thing of that whole like getting the government involved. Who cares?
Yeah,
it's great that everyone can do it though. So yes, we do care.
It is great.
But it is that thing of going, it is something nice about getting up in front of people and saying, this is the person I love and this person I want to spend the rest of my life with. And everyone going, we agree. It's really nice.
Yeah, it's lovely. It's also like, it's the one reason that you actually get everyone you want in the one room.
Yep.
The one room.
And then some aunts and uncles that you don't want, but you feel guilty about not inviting.
Yeah, we didn't even feel that issue. So they weren't there.
We were actually talking the other day going, man, I wish we could do it again, but we don't want to be that couple who, let's renew our vows. It's been almost 20 years.
No, it is a snapshot in time.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, it was so good. I mean, look, we did kind of get engaged. It wasn't as a protest. It was early. At the time, I was on Triple J and I'd been told by management I wasn't allowed to advocate for marriage equality on air because it's the ABC. So I couldn't say a queer man in love with another queer person would like to get married and support that. Like I wasn't allowed to. But what I could say is my fiance.
Yeah.
And I guess the implication being that we wouldn't stay engaged forever as much as the Liberal Party wanted us to. So yeah, it was a little bit of a protest to begin with, I guess, and a little bit of just like fuck you for making us anyway. But it was like a very long. It was like a 7-year engagement, and then the wedding got cancelled because it was meant for May 2020. And then it was a couple of years later, and it's such a good day.
For those with short memories, May 2020 was in COVID. It wasn't cancelled because they went, oh no, we don't like the date. We'll take it.
Yeah, no, deep in the sneezy time.
So growing up, did you have a role in your family? Like, I'm guessing
burgers every second Wednesday.
Okay, that was you.
I had to cook every second Wednesday, and it was burgers. Did I have a role? I guess you mean more like.
Well, I don't know. If you're close with your mum, maybe you were like a confidant for your mum, or I don't know, like just something. Or
these
a lot
days,
of comedians
definitely
are peacekeepers.
I've
discovered.
Well, I think it was like because it was quite young when they first split. I think if I am funny at all, where I learnt it is from trying to be funny for mum, or trying to and I was like always doing plays. I was like always theatrical and like trying to perform and so I think that might have something to do with it in those early days. That was definitely me. I was definitely the performer and like jumping around, and like I was standing on the picnic table at the Christmas camping trip with a ukulele and pretending to be John Farnham and creating the Celine Dion dance to The Colour of Love, which I believe is a 9-minute song. So it's I think that's what it is. So that was definitely my role.
And so you moved out at 17. Was that for uni, or just we were like, I'm out?
I just turned 18. I caught the train from Perth to Melbourne, moved to Melbourne.
Yeah.
Via train with my best friend Mads. And I went to SAE, which is Audio Engineering School, to do something, to have an excuse to go, really. That was it. I didn't go on to be an audio engineer at all. Like maybe, I think I did. I mixed one show at Pony.
Yep. Was it the 3 a.m.
At like
one?
3 a.m., yeah. Yeah. I was like, I think I need a new career.
And so when you were like 18 moving to Melbourne, were your parents encouraging, or was it like, oh, it's a career?
My brother he's a winemaker. He'd left at 18. He was straight out the door.
Yeah.
And he moved to Margaret River and studied down there and moved down there. And I'd always wanted to be I wanted to be in bands. I wanted to be in music. I wanted to be in an actor or a director or something in that field. It's comedy. And the first thing that I could do was get on a train to Melbourne.
Yeah.
And have some excuse to do it. And SAE has a very low bar for entry.
Which is great. If you want to get audio engineers, go, great, just come here. We'll teach you on the job.
So that's why I did it. Yeah.
All right, we'll wrap up family there. We've got friends, career, health next.
Where do we go next? Why not health? Let's do health.
Okay. Would you say you're a healthy person?
Not right now. I really don't think I am. Like when you said, do you want to do this on Zoom?
Yes.
Or do you want to come here to Stupid Odd Studios to record? I thought I'll go to Stupid Odd Studios because my Uber Eats list will be completely different from from where I live. It'll just give me a huge range of options on my way home that I haven't had in the last week.
Yeah. And so you think it's just convenience of being able to eat out every night?
Yeah. Just constantly ordering food, and then always just being simple and ordering a burger and drinking a lot as well.
Yeah.
I think.
Well, you own a bar.
Is genuinely very difficult.
Yeah.
I'm very on and off as well with my health.
Yeah.
Like I used to jog all the time, constantly, like daily, every second day. Had the app and was like getting up. I was doing like sort of 15K runs and all this sort of stuff. And then after an MRI, I found a little leak in a disc in my back.
Yeah.
Very much because of that. Impact running, I guess, all the time. And I just haven't been able to jog since. And that was like it kept me fit.
Yep.
It kept my head fit. It was like I processed things out there.
Yep.
All sorts of stuff. It was like such a good way of, I'd catch up with people that way. Like I'd go for jogs with people.
Yeah.
God, I loved it so much. And having lost that, I think that was a real, like I fucking hate the gym.
Yeah.
I hate it so much. It's just, I'd do anything to find ways of not doing something in that room.
Yeah.
And then I've joined a community pool. And the issue there is that it has a sauna and a spa.
Yes.
Which dominates my time.
When I take the kids to the pool and I'm like, it's so cold in this pool. Hey, there's a nice spa over there.
Yeah.
You kids can't be in there, but I can watch you from there.
Yeah.
It's pretty good. Like, yeah.
Yeah. And the swimming, your hair gets wet and then you've got like chlorine hair and you always got to wash your hair. And if I wash my hair, it gets really like puffy and massive.
I'm the same.
So I'm not loving that. And the physio for my back was like, it's Pilates. The solution is Pilates. You just got to do Pilates. And once you do Pilates, you might even be able to jog again. You get back to jogging if you just do Pilates. I've never been once. I mean, this was 3 years ago.
I've never done Pilates. I do know it's very expensive though.
Yeah. Well, this pool I joined, local gym as well. It's like one of those community pool gym centers, whatever. They have the Pilates classes.
Okay.
And so I thought, I got the full package.
Yep.
So I can go to the pool, I can go to the gym, I can go to the sauna and the spa. I can do the classes. I've done none of it because they've actually shut the sauna and the spa for a little bit for renovation. So...
did you know before you signed on that they were going to shut it?
No.
I'd be going to the ombudsman. I'd go, all right, here we go. Get me some money back.
So I'm no good. And then I'll take little periods of breaks from drinking, particularly around work.
Yeah.
Like if there's a real busy period or something happening, I'll go like, I can't fit drinking into this.
Yeah.
So I'll just stop drinking. But then that just means that I come back with a vengeance later. And
how do you go with hangovers?
Drinking a lot. They can be really brutal.
Yeah.
They can be really brutal. Me and actually Alex Ward and I talk about this all the time, comedian in Melbourne, that we get these brutal hangovers that just can last an entire day and throwing up and it's no good.
Yeah.
It's really no good. But it's it's if I'm drinking constantly, then less.
Yeah. You get match fit. It's true.
You get match fit. And I think it's actually something, I think it's like a preservative that they put in certain drinks. I think there's something, because I could, if I'm gone out for a nice dinner and I've had far too much wine at that dinner, but it's like nice wine, it doesn't hit me.
Yep.
It's if I'm smashing the house red, that's when the next day it's like all Carlton drafts off the tap. It's it's no good.
Yeah. So we talk mental health on here as well. So can I ask, going back to, before we get into mental health though, your back, was how long was it you in pain for before you went and actually got it checked?
It was straight away. I couldn't.
Okay.
I couldn't walk anymore.
Yeah.
It froze up. It was completely and I was going from jogging, and it didn't happen on a jog. There wasn't an inciting incident or anything. but I can remember that run really clearly because I was training up to do marathon. So I was doing a 16K run, had a really great run, came home next morning, couldn't move, couldn't get out of bed, couldn't walk, couldn't do anything. And I was like, oh, and it had happened before that like I'd seized up or something because I was like, oh, maybe I don't stretch enough.
Yeah.
But this was like it didn't go, so I went and got the MRI.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so did that affect your mental health, like not being able to move and being
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Hugely.
Yeah.
Hugely. Like, yeah, it would clear my head so much going for a jog.
Yeah.
And nothing else delivers on that. I've actually recently started thinking that maybe hiking, like going back to that school I went to, like I did a lot of that. You'd go out for like a 7-day hike through like Bulla and Stirling and the Crosscut Saw and all these sort of not Hotham. Anyway, and loved it back then, but I've just never really done that. But so I have thought recently maybe hiking could be a way of getting that mental health back, getting that fitness back, and also firmly entering my 40s.
Oh, when I was at uni, I had a friend. My friend Eddie used to go hiking all the time, and he'd invite me out a couple of times.
Yeah.
And the hike, pretty much what it was, we would drive. It was in Tasmania, so we'd drive to these amazing mountains, walk to the top of the mountain, smoke some pot, and then walk back. Yeah. And it was being young and dumb. He would just drive home, and I'm like, I probably shouldn't have got in the car with him. But
yes, yeah.
It was a great time. Yeah. It was. Yeah. I really like it.
Yeah. Yeah. I think there could be a future. It's just time intensive.
Yeah.
Whereas a jog you can get done really quickly. Whereas this is like, okay, you've really got to set aside a time.
Yeah.
To go for a hike, but I do really miss it for that, and I don't know that I've found a solution.
Okay, so not finding a solution, has that affected any like mental health stuff, or you like? Do you meditate or do anything like that?
No, I don't meditate. I do nothing for it, Josh.
Do you play guitar? You play guitar?
Yeah, I play guitar. Actually, Reese always says that like if I'm playing piano or guitar, they know.
Yep.
Shut the door. Yep. It's like it's a real issue. Something's going on. We'll just leave him for a bit, I think.
Beck's the same. If I'm playing like Frightened Rabbit songs at home, she's like, all right, Josh is a bit sad. I better be really nice.
Yeah, I don't really know too many songs, so I'll tend to like just make something up and not saying I'm particularly good. Like I'll make up some lyrics and a melody will sort of, it's not that difficult to write a shit melody. Yeah. And the lyrics will be like really thinly veiled about what I'm experiencing and going through. It's like, oh, no one will be able to figure out what that means.
Yeah.
And then like I'll like strum that around. I'll play that around for a few weeks and then like it'll go. Like I don't remember so many of those little ditties because it just was needed for a period of time and then it's gone or whatever. Yeah. That I think one of my biggest. I think I am probably quite aware of my mental health because I did go through a period of depression where I was actually taking Prozac to solve that. I used to take it every single day. I took a pill in a new way on Instagram.
Oh.
When they first started doing videos.
Yeah.
And so I was like flicking it off a ruler into my mouth and like rolling it down like a Maltesers commercial into my mouth or like two-upping the thing every single morning. A fun new way to take a pill. And I remember doing that for about a month and then telling my dad, I want to tell you that, I've been diagnosed with depression, blah, blah, blah. And Dad said, oh, okay, that is, that's something you want to, you want to tell me and Mum and probably Reese and probably no one else.
Yeah.
And I thought, a bit late. I have been telling anyone who follows me every day, reminding them constantly. And also, you're flat wrong. Yeah, you couldn't be further from the truth there.
It's such a generational thing. And I think they're coming around.
Yeah.
This older generation of, maybe you do need to talk about it. Because I remember after Beck had the baby and she dealt with some postnatal depression.
Yeah.
And my mum was, it's just baby blues. It's fine. It's fine. It's like, it's not fine.
Yeah.
Like it's Yeah, she's going through a really hard time. We can't just give it a cute little name and go,
exactly.
You'll get over it soon. So it's, I mean, look, and I think my mum was saying that because she was scared to actually deal with it. And it's not like she wanted to ignore it, but she's like, it's too much. I don't want bad things to happen to my son and his wife. So,
yes.
But yeah, it is that thing of like when you tell your parents or tell someone about it and they, instead of just listening, they're like, well,
shut it down.
Yes, let's
yeah.
you're just going through a phase and you'll be fine. So yeah.
Oh, right, no, absolutely. Talk about it. But so that time, which also it sort of was diagnosed as like a down period of type 2 bipolar, which is like the bipolar light. It's not the one where you're taking apart a car in your garage. It's more like periods of like really intense like work, like just going a bit above and beyond. And I would say it's if it is that, I don't even know, like, you know, you get the diagnosis and you're like, okay. And then you're like, oh, yeah, how does that fit on you? And for some periods of time, like, yeah, it fits really well. And it has explained things in the past as well. It's like explained behavior to me.
Yeah.
But then also I'm like, I hear other people who've got that as well and their experience. I'm like, oh, I don't need to permanently be on a pill. It's something that I can sort of manage. And also because if we really get into mental health now, but when, because I have a little bit of OCD as well, like, or a little bit of like intrusive thought that is like these little obsessions, which is fine, but it also comes with a compulsion. Like I flick it out of my head.
Yeah.
Like so if I'll often think that I want to throw a drink in your face or something like that.
Yeah.
And I'll literally, like, to get it out of my head, I have to flick it out of my head or it feels like it just – and it's worse when my mental health is worse.
Yep.
So I have this little sign. I have this little, like, if I'm flicking all the time, if I notice myself, I'm like, oh, shit, my mental health is getting really bad.
Yep.
It's like this sort of signal that I can use to, like, go, well, let's hold on, what's happening here? Lay off the booze a little bit, or like slow down with how much we're taking on and doing and stuff. And
it's
stuff like that.
It's because my eldest son has Tourette's, and a lot of tics and stuff like that. And it's like you can tell when they're anxious, it's a lot more.
Yeah,
but also there's comfort in that as a parent because, you know,
it's great.
Kids who are 14 who are like not going to talk to me or not going to express how they're really feeling. I can. There is a sign there going, I know things might be a bit stressful for them, so let's try and make everything around them easier.
Yeah, totally.
And it's not that like, oh, let's like stop him from having any like stresses in his life, but it is a thing of going, oh, I can help out here. I can totally do extra stuff. I can drive him to basketball training instead of making him walk. I can do all this extra and just try and make his life a little bit easier.
It's amazing. You have this sort of like orange light that goes off.
Yeah.
Like it's perfect. I couldn't be happy with that. But it means it has meant what I was saying. It has meant that I'm sort of quite aware, I think, of where. So even though not being able to run, I think in the past I sort of maybe used that as I don't understand my mental health. I just go jogging.
Yeah.
Whereas now I think perhaps I need, even though I miss it greatly, perhaps I need it less because I sort of understand my mental health a little bit more and where it is and where I'm at.
Yeah. All right. We've got friends and career left. Which ones?
What do we want to talk about? Let's talk about career.
Career. Okay. What do you tell people you do? There's so many things.
I know.
What do you tell people?
I know. It's a strange, I think I still feel like broadcaster. Yeah. Like I guess it's like, what do you write on the immigration form when you land? I assume that is a cliche on this show, perhaps.
Not really, no.
Okay, good. But I think I would probably still put broadcaster on that because it's like the most simple explanation and probably something that I would return to as well, or is maybe a ripcord that I've got. So maybe I'd put that. I think like when I was thinking about this show this afternoon and thinking about the 4 different things, I sort of like, I was like, these are all just the same to me.
Yeah.
They're all so intertwined.
Yeah, Nick Cody said the same thing.
Yeah, right. Yeah. They're like all my friends are in my career.
Yeah.
All my like my mum and Reese are both in my career as well. Like Wendy Wheatley does all the books for Comedy Republic, pays every comedian. She's the most loved person in comedy in our family. So like, and we talk about it all the time. And obviously Reese and I work together a lot, and like even health in a degree, like you say, I own a bar. So that is what's driving some of the health issues. So So yeah, I think of them all as one. But anyway, so yeah, career. What do I say I do? I think the other thing, I just kind of do whatever is in front of me as the thing that is like the most clear thing that I should be doing.
Yeah.
And I think I have a bit of like once I've thought of it, it's very hard to not do it kind of thing.
Yep.
As well. Or if like I think, yeah. So, and like that's kind of how I started directing with Reece's shows was just like, it just started happening and I was like, oh, this is obvious. We need to do this. Or like Comedy Republic had spotted that there was no sort of venue in Melbourne that was like a sort of aspirational room, I guess, or like a sort of cultural, in the same way the comedy festival is for 1 month.
Yeah.
There wasn't that for a full year, and other global cities had it. And I was like, why is that not there? And then it sort of felt like, oh, now it sort of feels like we have to kind of do it or whatever. Or like even like really recently in going and helping Alex Dyson, who owns Comedy Republic with us, run for politics. It was like, oh, this feels, it's just, all right, we're doing this. And if he'd won, I probably would have gone to Canberra. Like it sort of is very much whatever is in front. So I don't really know what I would say that I do. And I think that's maybe why I just fall back on what I studied, which is broadcasting.
But that thing that you were going, we just have to do it, seems a constant. So you were like, all right, I'm going to Timbertop. I'm going catching the train from Perth to Melbourne to do this. Like,
yeah.
So in your career, has that always been the thing? Well, I want to do this, so I'm just going to do it. Have you ever had that kind of the thoughts going, oh no, I'm not good enough to do this, so I shouldn't do this?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Oh God, yeah. Like, I mean, I haven't done as much stand up as I perhaps would have liked because of that feeling and that thought, and like it used to terrify me so much. Which is why I never really like connected in the way that all my friends were.
Yeah.
Because it was just like, oh God, it was like it wouldn't ruin my day, it would ruin my week, like the idea of a gig coming up and da. And then I would do it so little that it would, once I'd done it, I'd go like, oh great, that's done. Yeah. Now I can take another 6 months off from doing that.
Yeah.
And then it meant that every time you go to do it, you're starting again. Like, it's such a runs on the board game, stand up, and like being in the practice of it and constantly doing it and gigging all the time. And I thought out of COVID, I was like, well, everyone's taken heaps of time off now. So I either do it now or it's just not going to, and then I didn't do it then either. Like so I definitely have that sort of like fear, or maybe I'm not good enough at this, or, whatever. So
with broadcasting, so you do your course, but then you move to Sydney.
Yeah, so I went to AFTRS, which I actually drove around Australia after moving to Melbourne and podcasted the whole way.
So AFTRS is Australian Film, Television,
Radio School. Yeah. And yeah, so I podcasted all the way around, and that was in 2008. So there weren't very many pods. I think it was me and the Sweetest Plum.
You, Ricky Gervais.
Yeah. And I made a show called 100 Suns on Highway 1.
Yep.
And I drove around the country 100 days and podcasted every day, and like what we were up to, and generally like made little videos on YouTube and stuff, which is all gone. You can't see any of it. And
is that because of you, or because
that's because of me? Okay, I've taken it all down.
Yeah.
But that got me into AFTRS. They were like, this kid's just doing it. And then that got me into Triple J.
Yeah. And
then I thought I was just going to have a career in broadcasting. I was like, well, I'll take the ABC route. I'll take the Robbie Buck route.
Yep.
I'll be on Triple J. I'll do the mid-dawns. I'll go do Weekend Breakfast and then take over on the Breakfast or Drive show. Do that for a while. That'll be great. And then move on to ABC Local and start interviewing politicians.
Yeah.
But then they fired me. So that didn't play out.
Okay, so because as someone who's been fired from the ABC, it's brutal.
It's brutal, isn't it? It's very public.
And especially when it's something that you, like, it's a kind of a dream job.
Yeah.
Like, as a kid, you'd be going, oh, Triple J is the pinnacle of, like, that's
totally
the cool. And I was the same, like, doing a sketch, like a panel show, hosting a panel show. It's incredible.
Oh.
How did you cope after that then being fired?
Well, that's definitely what set off that period of depression where I actually needed assistance. That was for sure it. And that's what got me to the point where I was like, anything but this. I remember saying that to the psych. I was like, they were like, you know, we could consider like taking some, whatever the home brand of Prozac's called. Can't remember anymore. And I remember saying, well, anything but this.
Yep.
This can't go. We can't go on like this. So it hit me. And what I did was, I think, in retrospect, I attached a part of my personality to having that job.
Yep.
So I defined myself by being a broadcaster on Triple J. And then when they took that job, they took a part of my personality.
Yeah.
And I think if I have an independent streak in me these days, it's because there's no fucking way I'm ever letting anyone do that again.
Yeah. Well, I think that was, for me as well, doing podcasting afterwards, going, well, or doing stand-ups, like, well, I control all this.
Exactly.
And it's like, if you're in that machine, the machine is great. If the machine's working for you, stay in that machine,
Happy days.
baby. Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is that thing of going, well, they can't take gigs away from me. They can't take my podcast away from me.
Exactly.
Only I can do that.
Yeah.
And but there is something in that, and and looking at the landscape now, it's kind of like, oh, well, the people who are super, super successful are the ones who went, oh, I'm going to just do my own thing, and I'll be
100%.
I'll be the boss.
Yep. And there's no world that I'd ever go back, I don't think, to like having a boss who's got their own direction or what they want to do with something that, you know, that you might disagree with, or you like, and particularly in media, like, I just really, really much prefer having that sort of the thing that you can control.
Yeah. All right, I'm a magic genie now, and I can grant you any wish for your career. What do you wish?
Oh, what do I wish? I think I want to know that Comedy Republic's going to be okay.
Yep. Let's talk about Comedy Republic then.
Yeah.
Because it's a great venue and a great initiative that you guys did, and you kind of did it at the worst time for you guys.
Yeah.
In terms of just,
I think it was just after our first wedding that we. So
for those outside of Melbourne, it's in the CBD of Melbourne on Burke Street. It's two floors of a bar, and upstairs is a theatre.
Bar and a theatre. Yep. It's sort of like, if you're in the UK, it might be like the Stand or Soho, or like Largo in LA.
Yep.
Or maybe more like Dynasty Typewriter. It's sort of, it's a big bar, which is important, I think, because it means that's where community can happen. That's where you can chat, talk. And then, like a 130-seat theatre, which is purpose-built for comedy. It's designed, every inch of that place is designed specifically for comedy.
No bad seats.
Low ceiling, very low stage. Every seat is relatively close, so no one feels like they can talk in the back row. Like every little detail is, there's toilets for comedians that are just for them. Sometimes before you go on stage, you can get a bit of a jibby tummy.
Well, I won't say who, but I did hear a rumour of a very well-known comedian pissing in a toolbox backstage and not telling anyone until the venue owners discovered the toolbox and were like, fuck this guy.
Wow. I cannot wait to find out after the show who that is.
Yeah.
But it launched. It launched on the 3rd of July. In the end, it was meant to launch in March 2020, but it launched on the 3rd of July, which was a Friday night, to a sold-out crowd of 25 people because of one person per 4 square meters. And we did 2 nights, Friday and Saturday night, and then there was a press conference on Monday that turned into a 3-month lockdown or whatever. So we got 1 weekend out, and then we were straight in lockdown again. So it wasn't the most perfect, most ideal time to open a place of assembly, given that assembling was actually the issue that was facing this great city. But it's kind of weird, like that period of time had so much support. Yep. It had so much money for like every business, not just the arts. And so we kind of were able to get through it with a full staff who didn't have much to do. Yeah. So, we started relatively strong in like capacity because there wasn't much output. So we were able to like, work on like Zooming shows or pivoting to whatever the fuck it was that we were doing. And, coming back really strong with lots of shows and, making work and creating opportunities and whatever. And then immediately after, if you're listening to this in 20 years' time, then you might have forgotten that immediately after the pandemic, there was a massive spike in inflation, which drove a cost of living crisis around the world, which actually turned out to be the bigger crisis.
Yeah.
Right. And that's kind of like we're sort of still maybe in that or maybe coming to the end of it, perhaps, hope, who knows. But in this crisis, there is no support.
No.
There is no like, we really need to get the arts through this. They couldn't give a flying fuck if the arts lives or dies in this one.
Yeah.
And so this is the crisis, which I think people don't sort of notice as much. But this is absolutely the harder time, the trickier one to navigate. And so I think we're through it. But it's still a constant, like I'm still constantly thinking about it and yeah, it's always in the back of my mind. So I think if I could wish for anything, it would just be the knowledge that it will be fine.
So how much, that's a lot of stress to take on. So how does that like affect your other, like you do a podcast, you direct Reese's show, you do your own like creative stuff. Like,
well, I don't know why, but I don't absorb that much stress from it because I sort of also think like if it's not fine, then it will just have been.
Yep.
And it will like it has been a cool thing. So if it does end, which I don't think it will, but if it were to for whatever reason, I'd be like, oh well, that was a cool time, and that's happened to many gigs and things in Melbourne, and like things have come up and gone away, and they've been good at the time and then gone away. I'd really love this one to last forever. Yeah. It's cool, but I don't really, the stress of it doesn't really worry me too much. And also the other thing is that Alex and I have always done it from what we've got. We don't carry massive debts and things. It's not something it's not the approach we've taken. So we don't have this huge like overhead, like scary thing that we have to pay off. And it's not like a mortgage.
Yeah.
It's just like, something that we sort of push our time and energy into. So it's not too stressful, I don't think.
Cool. All right. Our last one, Fwends. You do a podcast called Fwends.
I do a podcast called Fwends.
So normally this is the shortest one we talk about, but today I think it might be fleshed out the most.
Yeah.
Are you a social person?
Yeah, totally. I get a huge amount of my energy from that, which I think explains like starting something as large target as Comedy Republic. But then also even like, like when I was still lived in Perth, I like got all my friends together to make a film in 24 hours. There's no like 24-hour. I mean, there are 24-hour film competitions. This wasn't for that. It was just to do it.
Yeah.
And so like gathered together, we started at like 8 p.m. and started writing and, wrote until like 9 and then made sure it was.
So how old were you at this point?
Would have been like 18.
Yeah.
Yeah. Just something to do and just like pulling people together and getting friends together.
I know guys who just got up one day and go, let's hit every Macca's in Tassie. There was 8 of them. And we've got to eat something in every Macca's. Not just have a drink, you got to actually eat something. So they drove around all day. It was like 9 hours. And went, cool, we got them all.
Yeah. I was trying to do that sort of shit. So I think, Friends is, and then, I'm just always, if someone's like, should we go do this? Should we go do that? I'm like, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Like even today, you called and said, do you want to come to this pod? And I'm like, yeah, let's do it. That'll be fun.
Because at your wedding, you had a lot of friends speak and they spoke beautifully. Yep. And you had friends who you've had for your entire life. Like, is that something important to you to keep on to those kind of ties and bonds?
Yeah, absolutely. My best friend Maddie in Perth, we moved to Melbourne together on the train. My best man at the wedding, CJ, we went to kindergarten together.
Yep.
And we're in like a band together when we were 16 and 17 and we don't chat as much as I think I'd like. When he lived in London, when we would go over there for shows and stuff, and we'd live together when we were there, and live together in Perth and stuff, and that group of friends, there's like maybe 8 of us. Actually, just during the election campaign, they had, because we were everywhere now. We're in Melbourne and London and Perth and all over, and everyone was back in Perth but me, and it was in the middle of the comedy festival. Yep. Which is massive for Comedy Republic, obviously, and it was in the middle of the election campaign, and I just started helping Alex to run. So it was like probably the 2 largest events of my year.
Yeah.
And I was still looking up flights. I was like, I've got to get there. I just couldn't do it because it's like Warrnambool's like a 4-hour drive to the plane and then the 4-hour flight, and it's like I just couldn't make it. But that will absolutely be my biggest regret of the year, not going to like be there for that. Because I think that's like that's critical. That's everything. Like Mads, when her mum passed away very suddenly, 2 years ago now, I was just on a plane the next day. Yep. There's just absolutely no question. And I think maybe actually, just thinking about this out loud now, but maybe that has replaced family perhaps, or that extended sense of family.
Yeah.
And not that I don't love my family, and they're there, they're in my life. They're just not there every day in the way that my friends are.
Yeah. I mean, it's a very common thing. I remember, and sounds weird, but like I remember 9/11 and no one knew what was going to happen in the world. And I remember there were people.
I was annoyed because Rove went off air.
No, they just finished.
Oh, it just finished,
yes.
I very much remember Rove being on, and then very much remember watching towers collapse.
It would have been great if the towers hit and he went, "What the?" No, but I remember sending an email to my friend Justin, who I was all through high school with. We went off to uni. We didn't really speak that much because it was just the time. Not people didn't even have emails.
Yeah,
and STD calls were expensive.
Yeah,
and
did you nearly say STI calls? Yeah,
caught myself. But it was that thing, and then I remember hitting up an email, going, "Hey," I was just like, not knowing what's going to happen in the world, just thinking, "Hey, hopefully you're okay, and hopefully it's all cool." And then we were like best friends again.
Yeah, totally.
And it was this weird thing that it comes up that when you're in your 20s, friends do replace your family.
Yep.
For those people, when in emergency, these are the people I want around me.
Yeah.
And as you get older and your parents get older, sometimes that kind of like you don't have the time because you're looking after your parents, or you just the
you got your own
changes,
family,
or you got your own family, all that kind of stuff. But with like you being so far removed as well, because your parents are in Perth and WA, Margaret River, it is the thing of like who do you lean on? And so you've got Reese, and
absolutely.
then Fwends.
And then Fwends.
Yeah.
And it's like, I think it's also a real, I mean, obviously, but it's a real queer thing as well, that like, chosen family, blah, blah, blah. But it's kind of, it is absolutely more prevalent that it's often couples that, or people that are, and this isn't my case, but rejected by family, don't have their own family. When you look at your life, chosen not to have kids or whatever, look at your life, look at yourself, think of yourself in your 70s, you're like, friends are going to be critical.
Yeah.
Friends are really important here.
Yeah.
And so, I think there's definitely a little bit of that. And maybe it did start actually in that, going to that school and like being away and being so in such a sort of compressed environment, and that friends became really important then. But they're super, super important in my life. There's no fucking way I'm turning off friends as my burner.
Has there been a through line in what you look for in a friend throughout your life?
Not really. Like there's, I think you have to be interesting.
Yep. It's a big one. Helps.
To me. Yeah. I'm not very good at someone, if I'm not finding someone very interesting, I'm not very good at staying on the line, which probably isn't that uncommon, but that's kind of the only through factor. I've got, I think I do have friends that are from like completely different worlds as well. Yeah. And I can code switch quite good too. So I can be very, very gay at a gay festival or like out with queer friends, but then I can be like when when like we renovated Republic, I'm there with like a builder and I'm like his trade assistant. I'm in there like I've got an accent.
Yep.
You know, I'm absolutely
dropping a couple of octaves, going,
yeah, right, mate, yeah, mate, yeah, fuck yeah. But I'm very happy being friends with, and you know, Perth is a very you know, it's a mining town, you know, and all my family, like my uncles, and it's all uncles.
Yeah.
I only have uncles. They all married, but by blood, it's all uncles. So, and there's 9 of them. So like, I'm completely fine in that like masculine environment and everything. But so and I think, and I just I do like talking to people about their stuff, and what they're into, And
so, what do you think your friends appreciate about you as a friend? Like, what characteristics?
I am there if I think I'm needed.
Yep.
It's probably if I think I'm needed, not if you do.
Yep.
But I am definitely I am that. Like if I feel that I can help in that situation, then that does become the most important thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think, again, that goes back to the same thing as what we're talking about with the career. Like, I see it. I'm like, oh, I'm needed here.
Yeah.
I can't, I find it really difficult to then not do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, I have to do this now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That OCD compulsion to go. Right.
Yeah. The compulsion. I won't be able to get it out of my head. I just have to do that. So that's a handy thing to have in a friend, I reckon.
Yeah. Have you had any friendship breakups?
I have had some friendship breakups.
And was it an event or was it a slow ghost? Just
no, it was definitely an event. And I think every time that it didn't end well. And and I can try, and I can see where I went wrong in not in the way that they end, because it's not just the one that's in my head. They've usually got the same thing, which is like it's always like getting too close and allowing someone too close, and sort of me having maybe a sense of is betrayal that's probably the wrong word, but like just realizing how unaligned we are.
Yep.
Far too late.
Yeah.
That's how I'd put it.
Well, it's because it's really hard when it's a friend, because you're forgiving of them as well to a certain point, and then you get to the point where you're like, hang on, I'm noticing too many things here where I'm seeing on my own experience where either taken advantage of or just not thought of. Whereas I thought we were kind of in this together thinking about this, and then it's just, oh no, you were doing this selfishly and I was just not even an afterthought.
And I think a little bit of it is probably on me as well, in that I didn't spot that we're unaligned earlier, and I gave up too much. You know, I probably seemed, more on board with how they were thinking, and like that I was allowing things too much. And so, and I think I also tried to, like, I knew it had to end. You know, you get that feeling and you're like, this is absolutely got to end.
Yeah.
I thought it would end badly. I tried to make it the least worst it could, and it didn't work.
Yeah. I had a thing with mine where I thought we were both fans of each other, and I realised that they just liked me being a fan of them. And it was that thing of, and it wasn't until I got what others outside would have thought, oh, that's success, that I realised, oh no, they're not.
Yeah.
They're not celebrating this how I would celebrate it if they got it.
Yeah,
and
totally.
It was a real big splinter.
Yeah.
All right. That is the end until we get to this part where we go through.
I realise though now, because in our show Fwends, we ask people, tell us about a former friend, and I force people to do what you just forced me to do, and it's horrific.
I'm sorry.
But I'm doing it to someone every single week, as I guess you are as well.
Yeah, I am as well.
Fuck.
Comes up every week.
We've really screwed our friends over in that setting. Anyway.
We're coming closer. All right, now it's time where we go through the burners. You tell me which ones you're keeping on and which ones, if any, you're keeping off. Now, what we've done now is you can have someone high and someone low if you don't want to turn anything off, or you can just go.
I see, yeah. Well, I would merge two burners.
Yep.
So I'd probably have a sort of like a wok burner.
Great.
Of friends and family.
Yep.
As the one. Because I think that the family members that I have in my life are friends.
Yep.
They're close friends. And then the family members that I don't have are not friends. And I don't pretend. I don't play family and like, oh, I've got to make sure I catch up. You know, I've got to visit. I don't do that at all.
Yeah.
So I would almost say turn off family, but there's a couple of, the caveat being that there's a couple of family members who I think of as really close friends.
Yeah.
And so friends is burning very strong, and I'd say that career is probably burning quite strong too, and health can go. So I'm turning two off.
Two off. That's good.
I'm turning two off. Career's going to be great. Friends are going to be great. I'm going to die young, but I'll be happy.
It is that thing with the families, and it's come up a bit like if you go like you got family members and you're like, I love them, but I don't know if we like each other.
Yeah.
And that's sometimes liking is more important than loving.
Yeah, we're very different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, this has been fantastic. Thanks for doing this.
Oh, it's been a joy. We should do this sometime, not on mic. We just get a beer.
We should.
Yeah.
So you got friends?
Yeah. Or the show, or just generally?
No, just generally.
No, I've got a podcast called Fwends, which is, it's a pretty similar show. We ask people 4 questions. Tell us about your first friend, your fastest friend, a former friend, spicy, and forever friend.
Great.
And it is really beautiful to hear people, like, I think you learn a lot about someone by learning about the company they keep.
Yep.
And so it's been so great. We recorded a bunch of episodes at once, and we've just sort of been releasing them over the first few months of this year. So there's like Ben Shuri, the chef from Attica, and Sarah Blasco, musician that we both love.
Yes.
And obviously comedians. There's comedians all through it. And Eric Jensen, journalist at the Saturday Paper, editor at Saturday Paper. There's like a gamut of people. It's just been a really, really fun show.
Great. So there's that. If you're in Melbourne, go and support Comedy Republic. Go and see some shows. Yeah,
and particularly the other thing that I do is improv, because, Josh, I'm very cool. And so improv comedy, which is every single Wednesday night at Comedy Republic. And I'll pop up like a couple of times a month on a show called Something Good. That's the one that I'd recommend.
I did Something Good once, and I realised I was not good at improv. And I was sitting on the side. I was loving...
Just watching the show?
I was watching the show going, this is so good.
Yeah.
And then someone said, Josh, come on stage. I'm like, oh, that's right. I'm in this show.
But it is great. The thing about the show is we get someone on who doesn't do improv.
Yeah.
Such as yourself. And then, but I think you actually you would have been fine.
I was having fun.
Yeah, you would have had fun.
I wasn't, You
would have been funny as well.
There was some very good, so Greg Larson was on as well. He was another guest. And the guy who was in Deadlock season 1, who was also in that show with Greg and Ben, the sketch show, whose name I forget. But
I'm not good.
He's in Deadlock. He was very, very good at it. Anyway,
yeah.
Are the things to look out for, Kyran Nicholson?
I don't. I think they're the things.
Excellent. Hey, thanks everyone for listening to this episode. If you'd like to support this show, you could always join the Patreon. That's patreon.com/DYKWIA, my brand new podcast on Patreon only, which is called I'll Be Your Biggest Fan, where I get people I'm fans of and I ask them what they've been fans of throughout their life. I've got an episode coming up this week with Ben Russell. I did Kirsty Weebeck last week, Luke McGregor. There's been some great people, so make sure you get on that. Patreon.com/DYKWIA. You're all the best. We'll see you next time. Bye.
Bye, Josh.
Thank you.